everyone, so welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Caroline. I'm a lecturer in physics and I work at a UK university. And this week I could go back onto the campus. I was actually scheduled to meet students, tutees, and I went to my office. Our semester starts next week. The weather in the UK's got very autumnal, so I'm in my snuggly jumper. It's Saturday evening and I thought this was the perfect time to record the September Q&A video. Question number one for September was, am I scared about going back to work at a university campus when we're in the middle of the COVID pandemic still? And that's a really good question. So our university, from I think it was mid-March onwards, like much of the UK, we went into lockdown, which meant I couldn't go to my office, I couldn't go to the laboratories, I had to work from home. All my PhD students had to work from home, all my undergraduate and master students had to work from their homes or their place of residence. And it just completely changed the way that we were conducting, I guess, university education. So yeah, as a lecturer going back, the classrooms looked different. There's markings on the floor where the tables have to be. There's anti-bac wipes we have to use before and after. The students have to come into the lecture theatre in a particular way. They have to start at the back and then fill the seats up to the front. When I'm teaching, I have to stand behind certain markings. I can't cross them. So there's a lot of stuff we have to take into consideration. So yeah, it felt odd going back in, but I feel like I've got excellent colleagues. I have an amazing department that I work in. The students were very good and very respectful of the situation because obviously they're facing it too and they don't want to catch this horrible COVID virus. So yeah, a little bit apprehensive, but it was okay. Question number two then is, how do I find recording a lecture when I'm at home? This semester, my university, all of our lectures are online, which means I've been sitting at home recording my class. And it is strange, you know, I've got the lighting set up, I've got the microphone, I've got all the tools that I need in order to record a lecture. And then at some point you have to just decide to start recording, because when I go typically to the university, there is a timetable and I have to give my lecture at a certain time on a certain day of the week. And, you know, if I'm feeling good and in the mood for it, that's great. If I'm feeling maybe not so much in the mood for giving a lecture, well, I've got to do it anyway. So I just kind of get on and give the class. But when I'm recording a class from home, obviously I can choose when to start that lecture recording. So I found a bit of a pattern. I tend to record my lectures in the morning. I tend to be like in the zone and focused to record the class then. And I try to record the lecture as if I were doing it in front of a group of students. I've made the lectures a bit different. They're not how I would be giving them if I was actually in the lecture theatre. I've tried to adapt the material and how I've structured the material in order to suit an online format. And I think I chatted about that in an earlier video. But then, yeah, once I've got the material and I know where I'm going, I just give the lecture. I hope that there's no loud noises when I'm giving the class and recording it. You know, I don't want anybody to start doing building work nearby and upset the recording. But yeah, I try to be energetic and enthusiastic because I can kind of picture the students. They're having to watch this most likely in their student bedroom or their hall of residence. And I want to make engaging videos that they actually want to click on and watch. But yeah, I guess it's just one of those things that we're all comparing notes on the recording software, when things work well, when things go wrong. And I guess in a few weeks' time I'll find out how the students are actually finding the lectures. But in terms of personally recording it, I chat to the camera quite a bit. So yeah, I just sort of get on with it and try not to overthink it. Okay, third question. This question was, I guess, moving away from the COVID and the pandemic situation. It's, how do I balance time between research and teaching? It's a great question. It's a constant battle as a lecturer. You've got to balance your research bit of the job, your teaching part of the job, and your kind of admissions or administrative duties, whatever you have as your kind of departmental role. I'm the admissions tutor. But yeah, in terms of balancing research and teaching, I guess I've developed tactics, so I'm quite structured with my personal timetable. I will create times in the week which are my research times, and if people try to book meetings on them, if students want to arrange to meet at that point in time, I'll typically and politely say, no, I can't do that time, can we reschedule for a different time in the week? And I do that, I guess, to protect my research hours. It's very easy if you don't protect your research hours just to accept meetings and appointments, and then you don't get your research time. And people are very good about it, and I try to pick the same times in the week. So typically I'll try to get either a full day for research, or maybe I'll try to get 2 half days, and they're my kind of really dedicated research time. And I will try to use the same time slot each week, and then my colleagues and students will know that that's the time that I'm focusing on research. And that works. I also try to make my research slots not just an hour, because it takes me a bit of time to get into my computer coding research. If I'm doing a lab experiment, it takes me time to set it up, to get the data, and then to dismantle the equipment. So I try to always set my research time as being either half days or full days. And another tactic I've learnt and developed is to turn my email off during my research time. And that takes quite a bit of willpower, but if my email is constantly pinging whilst I'm trying to write code or write up a research paper, it's too distracting to go and check the email and then almost feel like I need to respond to that email message rather than doing my coding. So I'm quite strict, and I try to set dedicated hours for research, and I try to turn off my email at least for part of that research time, or make the notifications quiet so I don't get distracted. And then when I'm doing my teaching, I try to be very present in the teaching. So I make sure I set windows of time that the PhD students know they can see me, that the master students can find me, that the bachelor students can. I make sure that I timetable long enough meetings for the students so they get the chance to say what they need to, and we can explore ideas and what they've been up to. And with the teaching, I also factor in not only the lectures and lecture recording, but also marking. So I will allocate in my timetable time to do marking, because that's an important part of teaching, and it means then that I can choose a good time in my day to get my marking done when I'm feeling fresh and energetic and ready to do it. So yeah, I think timetabling myself is the way that I've managed to balance it. And I also acknowledge that during the semester time, I will probably have to do more work on the teaching and less time on the research. And during the student vacation period, so Christmas and Easter and our long summer vacation period for the students, that's the time I can then do it slightly more on the research and slightly less on the teaching. So yeah, that's how I balance research and teaching. And then the final question this week, the question was, does having the Internal Verifier Certificate help when you want to become a lecturer? And I have to admit, I didn't really know what an Internal Verifier Certificate was, which probably in part answers the question, because clearly if I don't know what it is and that I haven't got one, and I've managed to become a UK lecturer, then it wasn't needed, at least for my job when I applied to be a physics lecturer. I've done a little bit of looking around, and I now understand that an Internal Verifier Certificate, basically, it's a awarding certificate that's given to somebody if they've passed, I guess, a certain course, which means they understand the assessment structure and the curriculum standards for a particular awarding body for a particular qualification. It's a way of making sure that institutions who are awarding a particular qualification assigned to a particular course are maintaining standard. So I can definitely see why this would be a useful thing to have. If you had an Internal Verifier Certificate in a course that was particularly the one that your university taught, and you had the ability to say you could help set the assessment standard within that university, I guess I can see now how that would be a useful thing to have. I guess the thing to bear in mind is, from what I've read, the Internal Verifier Certificate is very much linked to a particular awarding body. So if you've got a certificate for one awarding body, it won't necessarily mean that you can be an internal verifier for another awarding body. I guess, having things on your CV is fabulous, and if you did have an internal awarding certificate on your CV, that's a brilliant thing to have. In terms of becoming a UK-based lecturer, I've not seen it on job requirements, at least for becoming a physics lecturer. I think most people come in as a lecturer and then they get experience of setting exams, examination questions, and then kind of work their way up to being able to help set standards across their department, their faculty or their university. So personally, I've never needed to have an Internal Verifier Certificate. Maybe I will in the future, depending on where my career path goes. But yeah, I guess in summary, if you have one, it's a good thing to have in your CV. If you have one and it's relevant to the particular course that you're going to want to lecture in, I can't see how it can't be anything but a good thing, because it shows you have knowledge in that assessment structure. But I didn't need one, and it's not something that I needed to have before I applied to be a UK lecturer. Right, before this video gets any longer, I will now stop. So thank you for the questions for September. I will do another one of these videos in October. So if you have any questions about university life, being a lecturer, do put them in the comments. I will collate them up and then try to pick a few to answer in October. I can't believe we start October in the next video. So I will be back. Hopefully now I'm back on the university campus, not many days a week. I only go in for a short amount of time, but I'll be able to get a few clips of being back on campus, and I guess our university content will resume on Thursday. So have a good few days, stay safe, look after yourselves. If the video was helpful, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back on Thursday. Bye.